All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Mr. Curtis over at Oakwood Intermediate, and today we're going to be using line 3 out of Essential Elements Book 1 to learn how to count and clap rhythms. Rhythms being the way notes and lengths of notes are organized in music. So, right now I'm using treble clef, so if you are a violin player, this should look really familiar, but everyone's going to have the same notes for line 3. That's going to be an A. So, looking at just the rhythm here, first thing we have to do is address the number of beats there are in a measure. And in this example, every measure is the space that sits between these vertical lines. So on your own music, if you haven't done this already, you're going to want to write measure, because the space between the lines. Measure. Measure, measure. Between these vertical lines, every single one of those is a measure. Now, those vertical lines have a name as well. Those are called bar lines. B-A-R-L-I-N. And over each vertical line, you should go ahead and write bar line. I'm going to abbreviate it and make it a little shorter. I'm going to go B-L B, L, B, L. So now that we know how this is broken up and structured, we can address how we're going to count it. So, all you need to know is that each one of these measures that we've just highlighted, right, like we know the space between two bars is a measure, has 4 beats in it. So, underneath each measure, you're going to write 1, 2, 3, 4. We have a bar line, so that number is going to reset. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have another bar line, so we start a new measure, so again, it's going to reset. 1, 2, 3, 4. Another bar line, so it resets. 1, 2, 3, 4. But also, if you saw our note tree video, you'll know that there's space in between each of these numbers that is going to be filled with the word or syllable te, T-E. So we have 1 te, 2 te, 3 te, 4 te. And then again, 1 te, 2 te, 3 te, 4 te. And we're going to do that for the entire line. Make sure you're writing this in your book under line 3. So under each measure, we should have the same repeating 1 te, 2 te, 3 te, 4 te. Now the next thing we need to do is address how do we know when to play or say each of these notes. So these, again, if you watch the note tree video, you'll know that these are quarter notes. This little squiggly symbol right here is a quarter rest. Notes equals sound. Rests are silence. So, these are sounds, this is silence. Sounds, silence, sounds, silence. Both quarter notes and what are called quarter rests get 1 beat, just like we saw in the note tree video. So, if we're going to go through and circle where sound starts, quarter note starts right at the beginning, so we're going to circle 1. And each quarter note's worth 1 beat, so we're going to sustain through the te. Second quarter note gets sound, we're going to circle the 2, sustain through the te. Third quarter note, circle the 3, sustain through the te. We're on beat 4 with this quarter rest, but because it's a rest and it doesn't make sound, we don't need to circle or cross through anything. So we're going to go to the second measure. Take a quick look. First measure, second measure. Look at them as like a grouping. Note, 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 rest. Note, 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 rest. Are they the same or different? If you said that they're the same, you'd be right. So we can just copy this as well. Circle, sustain, circle, sustain, circle, sustain. Don't do anything with this because it's silence. We can also take a look at this here. There's one difference here. Is it on beat 1, 2, 3, or 4? If you said beat 4, you're correct, because instead of silence with a rest, we have sound with a quarter note. So just like before, circle, sustain, circle, sustain, circle, sustain. And instead of just leaving this alone because it's not a rest, circle, sustain. Last measure, same as the first two, so we can just copy that over. Circle, sustain, circle, sustain, circle, sustain. And then we leave that alone because it's a rest. Make sure you're using a metronome, you're keeping a steady beat. And so when you look at this, every time you see a circle, you're going to clap. The whole time you're keeping track of time, saying out loud, 1 te, 2 te, 3 te, 4 te, 1 te, 2 te, so on and so forth. When there is a rest, you count. So here we'll say 4 te, but instead of clapping, we're going to open our hands up to show that there's silence. So I shouldn't hear any clapping. So, for example, in this first measure, I'm going to count us in. Here we go. Ready and go. 1 te, 2 te, 3 te, 4 te. Clapping on the circles, opening my hands up where there's rest. Second measure, same as the first. Here we go. 1 te, 2 te, 3 te, 4 te. Third measure, there's not a rest on beat 4, so we're just going to clap on every beat. Here we go. 1 te, 2 te, 3 te, 4 te. Last measure, same as the first two. Here we go. 1 te, 2 te, 3 te, 4 te. So last thing we're going to do is we're going to do the whole thing, front to back, from left to right. Here we go. Ready and go. 1 te, 2 te, 3 te, 4 te. 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 It is super important when you're looking at music that you actually look at the music. Always make sure your eyes are laser beaming in on these notes. Make sure you have this written in on line 3 and you'll be good to go. Good luck.